Loud. Thank you for joining. In this session, we're going to explore the benefits of halotherapy and how it can successfully be used with animals. We're going to cover both pets and equine. And first of all, we're going to start off with Jason Robbins, who will cover the equine element. Jason, I'll hand it over to you.
Great, thank you, thank you. So tell me what you want to know first, and I'm happy to share.
Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into it, and then show us the equipment and hopefully explain some of the benefits that the horses are getting.
Sure. So I am an entrepreneur and an executive coach, and in 2017, I ran into a guy that sells the salt spa machines, and he said, you know, I don't have any coverage in equine, and I could really use somebody. And I said, that's really interesting, because my daughter and my wife ride and we own a horse, and I'd love to do that. In fact, I was spending the summer up at a 6-week horse show, which gave me a lot of opportunity to meet with a lot of pro hunter jumper riders and understand what they were doing and how the rules are for drugs, and that you're not allowed to bring the stuff behind the fence, et cetera. So I learned a tremendous about the business. And so it's been about 4 years, and we have a very, very consistent business now. So that's kind of how I got into it. Maybe what I can do is just bring you into my website, walk you through that a little bit.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
Let me share that with you. So this is www.equinesalt.com, our business. And as you can see here, we work with all kinds of disciplines. So barrel racing, hunter jumper, racehorsing, polo. Bleeding is really the #1 problem that people come to us for: bleeding, mucus. And bleeding is something that you really can't get away from in horses. It's genetically passed on, from what I understand, and just the sheer exercise that goes on with the lungs expanding and contracting kind of, you know, can make the capillaries very thin and blow out. There is a drug called Lasix that is being phased out for a lot of reasons. There were some deaths at various tracks, and they just don't like the drugging of the horses. So they're kind of moving to all natural, which is really a boon for our business, because we're a really terrific all natural product and treatment. In fact, I had someone who said that, I'm looking at the quote right here, one of our trainers, she had some horses that would never have won if it wasn't for this treatment. And as soon as she started, she goes, "Have you seen your results, Jason?" I'm like, no, I don't really follow the results of the horses. She goes, "We have 3 horses that came in second and 1 that came in first, and these horses never won before." So that was good to hear. But we don't really make claims, but what we know that when the vets scope the horse, and they're scoping a 4 or a 5, and then the horse gets treated every day in a row for a week or so. Could be 2-3 days, could be 4, 5, 6 days, but they know that when it scopes a 0 or a 1, that this stuff is really working. And what we think about it is it's kind of akin to if you have a sore throat and you gargle with salt water. Now that's not dry salt, it's wet salt, but there's the properties of salt are soothing, antibacterial, etc. So the reason why we like dry salt over some of the wet nebulizers is that we believe that the particles can get deeper into the lungs, attached to the mucus. For example, if we're talking about a mucus issue, and really the salt itself can absorb. When salt water goes in, the salt's already fully absorbed. So you're getting the treatment, the washover, but you're not getting the ability for the salt to kind of break things apart. So that's why we like dry. Let me show you a little video here. Horses just love the treatment. Once they get used to it, they're just on and on. They see it coming down. They're very, very smart. So they're like, "Oh, today's my special day. I'm getting treatment." And we'll see that here in the short video. So this is a $1 million show jumping horse that was coughing for years. And they treated the horse maybe 5, 6 times. And then upon warm up, the cough wasn't there anymore.
Wow, the horse does look very calm, doesn't it?
Yeah, you'll see the ears just go back, the eyes get all droopy. They just feel like they're just like really getting relaxed. The other really cool thing about this is we have a lot of customers who are buying the machine. And by the way, this is our old machine that goes in the wall, and we retrofitted it years ago to go on a cart. I'll show you the new machines, which are really developed for the needs of being there. But you'll see the horse is just relaxed. And so let me stop that share. Actually, I've got to go back to share to show you the product line. So let's share this and go to the product line. So let's see here, our products. So there's three main machines, three primary machines. There's one that goes into, let's just see here. I want to edit that out, Erin. What's happening here?
Technology, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah,
There we
here
go.
it is. So, so we have three different machines. The original one was for the enclosed room. You saw that in the video that we retrofitted and put it on a cart. And that goes through the wall from an air-conditioned room or climate-controlled room. It blows through the back, and you add the salt. Then we have a machine that's kind of dual function. It's about half as powerful as the enclosed room one. The enclosed room one does 440 square feet. The dual function does about a 200 square foot room. So one stall would be fine. And then we came out with this portable. It's run by a compressor. The other two machines are run by fans. When we sell the machine, we give an extra fan because sometimes the humidity and heavy use can make the fan go. But the value is so great that if you have to replace the fan every once in a while, it's like a consumable. It's not a big deal. But this one we made, and it's our most popular unit now because it's less expensive than the other two units. And I'll show you just some pictures of it. So hose and mask, compressor inside, super easy to clean because you just pull this tube out, unscrew the bottom, brush away with a dry brush any of the old salt, because salt can be corrosive if it sits for too long. And that's the whole thing. Turn the dial to 25 minutes and you're off to the races, so to speak. So that's my horse with the machine when we were first trying it out. And just some more pictures of the device, the different sides. It's just it's like a bowling ball bag, and it works super well.
Yeah, it's very nifty. So, do you have any issue with obviously as the horse is breathing in through the mask, with the condensation going back down the hose, or them coughing mucus into it at all?
It's a great question. You know, when we first started, if you remember the video, we had this is even, you can see this mask has no hole in the bottom. We developed an added hole here. So that where the mouth is and the nose, it would ideally not run into the hose. And in fact, on this model, you can see here, these little holes here, those are drainage holes. So that if mucus gets in there, it goes to the outside instead of in the hose. What we want, and we have a lot of people that buy these machines that are in business, and they need to go from horse to horse. They're doing magnawave therapy, infrared therapies, and they do this at the same time. And so by having a machine, having this without having to clean it much, the cleaning is so easy. You just literally rinse out the mask, spray it with a little alcohol, and you're done. Then you attach the hose again. So you really don't have to wash the middle of that hose out necessarily, because hardly anything gets there. So that's kind of how that works. Good question, really good question. But we solved that problem for sure. It also allows some fresh air in too, so there's a little less humidity in the mask. So one thing we should definitely speak about is humidity. In super humid areas or rainy days, it's a little bit difficult to use these machines. We prefer humidity of like 55%. We can do it up to 75%. And by the way, certain times of the day in humid areas, it's actually drier. It's strange, but like 2 or 3 in the afternoon is actually much drier than 7 in the morning. But when there's too much humidity, or people are living in a climate that has a lot of humidity, sometimes they want to put things in a trailer. Let me show you how the trailers in the rooms work.
Yeah, I was going to ask about enclosed spaces. Like often, you know, the horses have stables, so whether it can go into that.
Yeah, so people will take a trailer, and there's usually a dressing room or a tack room in the front of a trailer. And what they'll do is they'll set it up so that there's a separate room over here where there's dry air with a dehumidifier, and it'll come through the machine, blow here, and we put a little bit of vents here so that there's just a way the air to be able to move. Here's a view from the top, 2 little air outlets, and depending on the size of the room and the size of the machine, you can treat 2 horses at one time. So that's how that works. So again, the differences between the machines really are, let me just do the share again. It's more about, if you want to be portable and quick and easy to clean, the $5,400 machine is a terrific option for you. And I've seen people literally put the machine in an office with the door cracked where there's some air conditioning when they need it. Now, one thing about all these machines, you take the salt and you put it in a crock pot so that it is really as dry and flaky and crystallized as possible. Because the drier it is, the more that blade will blow it into these tiny, tiny particles. There's always going to be tiny particles, but the drier, the better. So what you'll see is people will have a crock pot and they'll put warm salt in every time. And it's just 2 tablespoons. So we estimate the salt use is like 20 cents maybe per
It's
treatment.
low.
So the machine costs money, but the salt is,
Yeah.
and we have a provider of this pharmaceutical grade salt, both in Europe, Australia, and the US. You can actually get it on Amazon now in the US, pharmaceutical grade salt, and it's like $40 for a nice size bag. So these machines are, again, portable and wall only. Also, we sell a human mask. So to the extent someone wants a separate mask with a smaller little cup to be able to treat themselves or humans. And when you get into the pet area, I think that you'll see that we're using a very similar machine for the pet. Slightly dialed a little bit a little differently for the equine specifically, but similar machine. And also on the pet machine, you can get the small mask.
Brilliant.
So yeah, what else could I answer for you?
With the racehorses, how often do they do the sessions for them?
The crazy thing is my trainers will not give me permission to release any kind of regimens. There's different rules where on race day or within 24 hours of the races, you can't treat. What I can tell you is when there's bleeding, they go every day until they're happy with the horse. And I've heard that as little as 2, as many as 5, 6 days, typically is what happens to take care of the bleeding. I think in general, what you'll find is depending on the horse, they will be a situation where they'll treat them maybe 2 times a week, 3 times a week, maybe on a couple of days in a row on the way up to a race. They all have their own ways, but the way I look at it is the trainers, they know their horses and they see the machine, the way the horse is breathing, and they kind of get a sense of what they need to do.
So it's fairly similar to humans, really, that 2 or 3 times a week is a good one if you're trying to treat something or to improve performance. And that really is what they're looking for out of the racehorses, isn't it? It's similar to sports performance. It's to increase the lung capacity, help them breathe better, which means they can perform harder, faster, for longer, be more explosive, and also recover quicker, can't they?
Yeah, recovery is a big thing that they talk about, where it somehow just allows the horses to, race. They don't have to rest as long, and it just seems terrific. I mean, for me, what I really love about being in this business is that Lasix is getting, drugs are starting to get eliminated from racing, and to be able to provide an all natural solution that people are raving about, it's like. I used to be in a business where I was selling things that were going to landfills, and it really wasn't super rewarding. They would use it once and it was very kind of like not very good, but this makes me feel really good that we're providing something that's, really doing good for everybody.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And I think that's what a lot of people have, or why they've got into halotherapy in the first place, is because it's natural, it's sustainable, and it does really make people and animals feel better. So there's what's not to love about it.
Exactly.
I think this has been brilliant. It's given us a really useful oversight or insight even to horses and equine and the use of halotherapy. For more information, obviously, people can jump onto your website and contact you, and ask some questions, and let's see where we can get to with all the equine stuff.
Yeah, anytime. I speak to people all the time, just educating them. There's no pressure here. If you want to learn about it, just give me a call. And Erin, I really appreciate you helping, expose this great treatment to the world.
No problem. Well, thank you very much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you so much.